Yeah, continue. Yes, just click continue.
Hi, Dean. Thank you so much for helping my project. Could you say a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Nathan. My name is Dean. As you know, I work for a company called Anaplan, and I think I've been working for them for 2.5 years now. Prior to that, I was a planning consultant in the oil and gas industry. Been working for the company for around 6 years. Yeah, that's everything about me.
That's amazing. But what are some of your interests and hobbies?
Oh, interesting hobbies. Right now it's just like random sports, swimming, basketball, and I have 2 kids, so I play some sports with them from time to time. And apart from that, a little bit of gaming and different kinds of cooking. Yeah, that's my hobbies.
And so, like the gaming, what are some games you play?
Oh, I used to play a lot of strategy games. Games like Command and Control, so Command and Conquer. No, sorry, Command and Conquer, and I think there is a game called Dune. I was quite interested into that game as well. It's Dune 2000 or something. It's quite an old game, to be honest, but yeah, I quite like it. I quite like the background story of that game. It's based on a novel called Dune, and there was also a movie about that game as well recently. Which it's a fantasy about some kind of planet in a different world. Like it's like different families trying to control the resource on planet. I think it's called the
Arrakis?
Spice. No, the spice. Yeah, they call it the spice. I don't know why they call it spice, but spice is like buried very deep down under the dunes on the planet, and there's like these kind of huge sandworms. It's very dangerous for people to actually to explore the planet there. But yeah, that's about me. Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, I'm familiar with the movie. I love the book. I like the original movie. I haven't seen the new movie yet, so but I could just imagine how much fun the game is. Like looking out looking out for worm sign, making sure you have your like carry-alls that can take the little mining vehicles and move them away.
Yeah, and yeah, and you have to be careful. Sometimes the worm just like they just eat the mining vehicles out of a sudden. It's quite random. So yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's like anything. You have to always be prepared for the unexpected. You gotta.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, did you know that NASA is planning to send astronauts to the moon for the first time since 1972?
No, not really. I mean, I was like, I only got to know it after you shared that information with me, and I searched a little bit. The first question I had was like, why? Why do they even care about sending people back to the moon, where we know very little about? I mean, isn't that a bit too dangerous, or what's so valuable there that's worth us trying to do these again? I mean, must be lots of investment going into this project, and what's the outcome of it? Like, what can we benefit from sending people back to the moon? That's my first question. Like, I just want to know the answer. Like, what's their motivation, or what's behind all these? I just don't know why.
So I guess, are you suggesting that maybe it would be better to do a robotic exploration?
Yeah, it's more like if we want to explore a planet, probably there's a better way for us to do that. Sorry, my son just broke the. I mean, what's the difference between sending some explorative machines over on the moon than compared to like sending real human beings over there? Yeah, that's something I always struggle to understand.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, because it's not like human beings out here in nature where they can touch stuff with their hands and they can smell stuff and they can feel stuff. I mean, essentially, the humans on the moon will be in a spacesuit and they'll only be able to see and kind of pick up stuff with gloved hands. So, how much observation are they actually having? I think that's an interesting point. But, to kind of put in a different perspective, though, whenever you think about the future of humanity, like 100 years, 200 years, what does it look like to you?
Well, I guess I can't see how it looks like for me in 200 years, but probably in 50 years, I guess we'll have more people on the planet. I mean, on Earth, and maybe human beings will start to think about probably Earth will not be our first choice of habitat. Is that the right word to say? Like, probably we have to think about will there be enough space on Earth for human beings to still live? Maybe we should look for like maybe we should have a backup plan to live somewhere else, or yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just it's a big topic. Yeah. Oh, that would probably make sense. Like, maybe we can send some people over to the moon and start to colonize that planet. Oh, it's not even a planet. It's more like a. Do we call a moon a planet, or it's more like a star, right? No, it's not star. A satellite. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking right now. It's yeah. I mean, the population is still growing right now. Yeah. Although in some countries the birth rates are slowing down, but still the average, the absolute number is still increasing. So probably in 50 to 100 years time, human beings will have to think about maybe we should find a new place for us to accommodate the extra population. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now.
That's interesting. Yeah, no, it's about the people on Earth. I keep thinking about different cities. Like you have like Mexico City and Houston. They're both like really spread out. I mean, they're like short buildings that go on forever. Taking up a huge amount of the surface. But then I think about places like Tokyo, where it's really
yeah,
vertical.
it's going like vertical. Yeah.
Are places like, I guess, Shanghai are other cities where they've really put a whole bunch of people in vertical buildings. And I keep thinking, we could really reduce our footprint by kind of building more up than out, up and down.
Going underground, yeah.
And then the oceans are a whole new thing. You can have like these whole floating cities out in the middle of the Pacific, and you could put millions of them there and still have a gazillion space.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, these sending people back to the moon thing, there's probably like more motivation just than finding extra space to put human beings, right? I mean, would there be any like military motivation behind these projects? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a risk with humans trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Some group of humans trying to figure out how to have power and destroy another group of humans. That's always always a risk.
Oh, I mean, for military purposes, not just like among human beings, probably like just to defend human beings from other unknown species. Would you agree with that? I mean, there could be that
I'm going
motivation,
to bet
right?
if you're able to come here from another star system, that your technology is probably so far beyond ours that it'd be like trying to fight missiles with
So you mean it's pointless, right? If there were.
It may not be pointless. I read some science fiction books where, like these aliens come and they interact with humans, and they give us all this technology, and we're like so thankful, right? We're like, wow, thank you. You're like giving us all this technology. And come to find out that these aliens, they want to just hunt us, but they want it to be some sport. They want to make it more challenging. So they're trying to get us to be higher up.
Oh, so you mean that we are the horses running on the tracks, and they're just entertaining? We're just entertaining them as audience.
We're more like the foxes are.
All right.
So they want. So it's not so easy to get us. That a little.
Understood. That'll be fun.
So there's that. Have you ever gone to see like a really tall building or a very deep valley, and you're like, wow, this is like amazing, and then you take a picture of it, and then you like show somebody the picture, and you're like, look at this amazing tall thing that I see, or this amazing deep thing, and they're like looking at it, and the picture doesn't really capture that moment.
Oh yeah. I think I've been to the States once. Went to Vegas once and took some photos and sent them over to my friends back in China. I was saying, oh, this is Vegas. Oh, see, that's so amazing. Different casinos and old buildings. And they're saying that, oh, well, it's just another US city. Come on. So, yeah, it's a good point. Like, you have to be there to experience the magnificent or magnificent side of a city, or even because there's so much limitation the picture can show you about what's actually you've experienced. So yeah, I do agree with what you just mentioned. Yeah,
because I'm thinking that the most obvious best thing that we could get from sending humans out into space is perspective. This idea that the Earth really is a very small, fragile, finite place, and the solar system itself is so many millions of times bigger than that. And then whenever you look at the galaxy, you're looking at trillions and trillions of trillions of times bigger. I mean, like Earth is not even like an atom when you look at the galaxy. It's more like a quark or some subatomic particle. But yet in our minds, at least in my mind, Earth is like so huge and big, and it's like everything. And I mean, I feel like it's not possible to get that sense of perspective through robotic observation, and that you really do need to have humans. But rather now, so I think we're probably both agreed on that. But the part that is up for questioning is that perspective important? Is it worth it? Yeah.
There's definitely something into it. But my thinking is that we've done it once already, right? A couple of years ago.
But not a couple
while
of years.
Again.
1972, we had landings on the moon.
Yeah.
12 people walked on the moon. So
yeah, I mean, a couple of decades ago. It's not years. Yeah, a couple of decades ago. Yeah, it's like yeah, my thoughts are like probably this time there's more to just sending people over there. Probably we're going to. I'm not sure what's the big plan is. Probably we can put some infrastructures there, I'm thinking, or not just like leaving people's footprints there and saying that yes, we're here again and hooray. Well, I think probably it's more like it could be treated as like a continuation of what we've done a couple of decades ago. I'm not quite sure about the details of the plan, but I would expect that there'll be something more to be done this time. Probably more scientific research or stuff related to science. Yeah, I just don't know the details of this plan. Like, I'm just really curious about what are included as included in this what could be included in this time when we actually send people back to the moon. Yeah.
Well, one thing we've discovered since the last time we went to was, after the Apollo program, we thought the moon was completely dry. And what we've discovered is that in these areas of the moon where it's always in shadow, like near the poles, there's like craters that from observations from orbit, it looks like that there's like millions of tons of water ice there that could be used for research. Perhaps they've captured information over time that's stored there that we can find out more about, but also can be used for kind of refilling spacecrafts. You can use the water for, to create oxygen and hydrogen and use that to power.
I see. As a power source. Okay, source of power. Okay.
But I mean, that's only makes sense if you're want to go further or do something in space. So it by itself is not a reason to get you up there. But the other thing is, meteors are constantly hitting the Earth, like all the time. Most of them are small enough to burn up an atmosphere. The ones that go through the atmosphere, most of them land on the ocean. The ones that do land on land, the evidence of them kind of disappears over time as they get weathered and, life grows over them, and, we build cities over them, stuff like that. But the moon's been going through the same volume of space as the Earth. And so a proportion of those same meteors have been hitting the moon over the last millions of years. By studying like the impacts on the moon, since it has no weather, there's nothing that causes no meteor ever burns up in the atmosphere on the moon. No meteor lands in the ocean. And
does the moon have an atmosphere? Don't think so. Huh?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, its gravity is 1/6 the gravity of Earth, and it's not strong enough to keep air molecules bunched up next
around
to it.
Yeah. Okay.
So one other thought we had was, by studying the moon, we can look at the types of impacts that have happened. We can see the frequency. It may be a possibility that we'll figure out some pattern of impacts that happens regularly over thousands of years, and maybe that would allow for us to prepare for something up in the future.
You expect that there will be like a huge asteroid hitting towards the Earth sometime in the future? Well, it can happen, right?
Yeah, apparently it's happened before. We think there's been several times where, because of asteroid impacts, it's kind of wiped out large amounts of life on the Earth. But also, rare earth metals that are used for electronics and high-tech batteries and equipment. Those rare earth metals actually come from meteors. So that had hit the Earth a long time ago, and now we're excavating out of the Earth. So there might be a big supplies of those materials on the moon that would be easier to get.
Oh, if that's true, then there's lots of it's a huge amount of commercial value to this scientific research. But how can we get them back to Earth? I mean, if there's a huge amount of this kind of metals on the moon, or do we have to get them back to Earth, or just use them on the moon?
Yeah, maybe. Some people are saying that, like the sun, for example, produces like 600 billion times the amount of energy that actually falls on the Earth. Because if you think about the sun's like generating energy in every direction, but the Earth, kind of like a little small circle in one way. So some people have some thoughts about creating big arrays of solar panels in space in orbit around the sun, so they would always be getting sunlight, and then you could beam that power down to places on Earth,
Oh,
and
oh wow.
perhaps and perhaps you build these solar panels using the materials from the moon, so then you don't have to get them up into space.
Ah, I see, I see. Yeah, yeah. That's a really interesting thought. Oh, imagine that you have that huge array of solar panels in space and just generating endless electricity. Oh my God. Oh my God. Mm. Oh wow. Yeah. That could be huge. Imagine if that becomes true. And
clean energy too.
yeah, exactly. You're not actually generating any waste by obtaining energy in that way. It's just pure solar power. Oh wow.
And if you did the mining on the moon, you didn't have to worry about destroying or damaging ecosystems either through mining,
Yeah,
manufacturing.
because everything is happening there on the moon, which is not affecting whatever is going on the Earth. But yeah, do you think we'll send people, human beings there to do the mining work, or are we just like inventing machines to do on the moon there?
I think machines. I think whenever it comes to labor, machines are
it's better that way.
Yeah. The humans are just there to provide supervision.
Yeah, or do some analytics works.
Yeah.
And just programming the machines.
Exactly. Handle that.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Oh by the way, is there like a hard deadline for you guys to send the human beings back to moon again? Is it like 2024?
2024 was the goal when that was announced in 2019. This year they said it'd be 2025. And then some people they feel like it'd be closer to 2026, 2027. Now, what's interesting is China was saying that they were planning to go to the moon in 2035. And now they're saying that they think they could do it as early as 2027. So,
oh wow,
I know.
Another competition. Oh, maybe China and the US will send human beings on the moon around the same time.
And you have the great handshake.
Yeah, exactly. Come party on the moon, right?
And then they come out and they shake hands.
Yeah. Oh, can't wait to see that happen. I'm just thinking probably there will be like Chinese takeaway on the moon soon.
Oh, like
but who will order the food then? Maybe the astronauts there.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Oh, that would be fun.
And that could be good. What are some good takeout options you think would be popular among astronauts?
Oh, that's tough. I'm not sure what kind of in what kind of state they're having food there as astronauts. Because if it's Chinese cuisine, the texture of the food is really important. But for astronaut, I don't think they will be able to have the food in their original texture. It's probably just liquefied food.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know. I mean, what kind of food does astronaut always have? Like, do they have to be in liquid form, or they can be? No.
They could be. Yeah, they eat regular food. In fact, it's prepared down here on the ground in a kitchen, and then they basically package it up and prepare it, and then they do some. They add some water and heat it up, and then essentially eat it similar to normal.
So in that case, probably dumplings. Dumplings is possible, right?
Yeah.
Maybe dumplings and noodles and probably Beijing duck. But I guess if you're an astronaut, once you're having like lunch or dinner in the space, you probably have to have the food in the very restricted area, because otherwise the food will be floating everywhere. Yeah. So yeah, I think dumpling will probably the least messy food they can have, or Chinese food they can have in the in the space station or on the moon.
Well, maybe it would be good to also look at it from the opposite direction. What foods do you think would be way too messy that shouldn't even be considered?
Oh, hot pot. Obviously hot pot.
Hot
You
pot?
probably, yeah. If you have that in the space station, you probably see sources and food floating everywhere. And you have to, yeah, let's not mention the deep source as well. Yeah, I'll be super messy if you have hot pot on the moon, where it's like, well, there's only little gravity, what, 1/6 of that's on Earth, right? Oh, can't imagine that. Oh my god.
Yeah, so things fall much slower on the
Yeah,
moon. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I wouldn't have hot pot in on the moon, no.
But if it was safe and affordable, would you take a trip to space?
Me? Oh, I would love to. I mean, it's something that's I've never experienced before. Personally, yes, I would love to. If possible, I'll probably take my kids with me as well, and my wife. It's like a family trip to the moon. But how long will it usually take from flying from the Earth to the moon?
Well, of course, it depends on how fast you go.
Oh,
But the reason it took 3 days for the astronauts during the Apollo time to get there was because at that speed, you're going slow enough that the moon's gravity will capture you. If you were going any
oh,
faster, you would need to slow down, otherwise you'd pass the moon. So let's say minimum 3 days there, a day on the moon, 3 days back. So a week.
mm. Yeah. So I have to book the holidays in advance if I were to go to the moon. At least a week.
Yeah, at least a week. At least a
To
week.
negotiate with my son's school, saying that okay, I'm going to take them to the moon, please. They'll be disappearing for just 1 week, and they will be back, hopefully.
Yeah, to have some stories to tell.
Yeah. I think the teachers won't object these application of holidays for kids. Oh my god, imagine that. Going to the moon. Well, it's just something I can dream of, but in reality, I guess the one trip to moon could be quite expensive. Maybe cost like millions of dollars or hundreds of millions. I have no idea cost-wise how much it would cost just to send one person to the moon. Oh, maybe if it's worth doing, probably the trip to the moon can be commercialized. I don't know. Would that be possible in the future?
I mean, it all depends upon the technology and the
Mm.
economics, which kind of brings up an interesting point. Have you heard of Elon Musk?
Yeah. The guy who started was it Tesla?
Hmm.
Yeah.
He also has a space company.
Oh, SpaceX. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things that he's developing is this new spaceship called Starship. And the unique thing about it is to be 100% reusable. Most spacecraft, they build one time and they throw it away. That's why space travel is so expensive.
Mm.
But with a reusable spacecraft, if you're able to use it, refuel it, use it, refuel it, use it, refuel it, the costs become much, much cheaper.
Wait, but so when we have the first couple of guys on the moon, and they actually return to Earth, right? So I guess from that trip, you guys already know how to reuse the whatever transportation device you use to send those guys to the moon. So
Well, the thing is you have like this all rocket, right?
yeah.
And you have the little capsule at the top, and like that main center core stage and the two solid rocket boosters, all of that gets thrown
Oh,
away.
you mean Oh, you mean we'll now be able to recycle the other rockets as well, not just the small tiny units at the very top of the rocket.
Yeah, so the rockets we're using now, we don't recycle. We just, it basically burns its fuel and then it burns up in the atmosphere, lands in the ocean, that type of thing.
Mm.
Uh, and but what Elon Musk is working on is actually developing completely reusable rockets that the entire rocket can be reused. So he has a system that he's working on building here in Texas, where it's made up of two parts, and both parts actually come back down, and you can reuse them.
Is NASA considering that route as well, or right now
Yeah,
you guys are still using everything just for once and then, or?
well, NASA is doing a variety of things. One is we're really pushing commercialization. So trying to get companies like Boeing and Blue Origin and Astrobotics and Firefly Aerospace and SpaceX to actually develop services that then NASA would just buy the services from. So but definitely we're really excited to see what they're doing.
Yeah, because the technology is already there, right? There's no point to redevelop them. Instead, you can just probably just use the service. Yeah, use the technology as a service. Then you can focus on what you guys are actually developing. Yeah.
But the same vehicle could be used for point-to-point Earth travel. So you could fly from Houston to Shanghai in like 40 minutes.
With the rocket?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that the I don't think the passengers will feel comfortable about that.
That's
suffered.
like you might get there in 30 to 40 minutes, but it'll take you a week to recover.
Yeah. But I guess the passengers need to go through a series of tests before they were put into that small device, I guess, because you have to experience 2G, 4G, what is that, 8G of so acceleration or how do you call it?
Yeah, it can be. And then wait, followed by a fairly traumatic landing.
Yeah.
Process.
Well, good luck with that. I would still take a regular plane or probably. I wouldn't mind that an ocean trip, but it might take longer. But I feel more comfortable with that. Yeah. Then imagine that if you travel by rocket, then what's the point of the trip? I mean, you're not seeing anything. Well, you probably see something, but you might get knocked unconsciously to unconscious states because of the multiple gravities that is posed on you. But yeah, I think I would do that only if it's a space travel. But for any travel on Earth, I still prefer to enjoy the trip rather than just focusing on time it takes to reach from point A to point B. Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, a 14-hour airplane ride. How much are you actually seeing, really?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I was probably sleeping like 2/3 of the time, to be honest. Yeah. Well, not in 40 minutes, but probably an hour is more acceptable. Oh, I heard there's like some kind of bullet trains or like underground trains. Maybe that will enable us to travel faster. I would say. Yeah. I mean, the rocket is probably too challenging physically for the passengers. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm still processing the idea of traveling on Earth via the rocket. Is it worth it? Yeah. What do you think? Would you prefer to travel in the rocket when you are trying to move from let's say New York to Shanghai? Would you try that?
I think I would prefer a 30-minute flight over. I guess that would be like what, a 15-hour flight from New.
Mm.
Maybe longer.
Yeah, depends on which route the plane is taking, right?
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, if you were to go to Shanghai and back, it would take you several days via plane. But with a 30-minute flight, you could see going to Shanghai, staying there for a day, coming back, even before anybody knew you were gone.
Yeah, that's true. And also, well, if you're calculating that, then you have to also include the time it takes for you to prepare the journey, right? It's not just the travel time in the air, but also like imagine what kind of preparation you need to do before they put you on a rocket. Probably they'll do some like examination on you to make sure you are physically fit for the travel, and also like documentations, all that stuff, all the time it takes to. Well, oh, I lost you.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right. Oh, are we running out of time or?
No, I was trying to see what time it was. I didn't want to keep you for your next meeting.
No, it's all right.
Yeah, no, it's something else. You know, a lot of people probably thought the same thing about airplanes when they first came out. You know, how traveling for 600 miles an hour, 500 miles an hour, and then yeah, you know, how will that work? So that's probably the.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Maybe when it actually happens, probably there'll be like technologies to make the passengers more comfortable if people would travel by using rockets. Yeah, it's possible, right? I mean, probably some kind of technology to offset that uncomfortable the uncomfortableness when you're actually traveling in a rocket.
Yeah, and some people like roller coaster rides, so they might
they might enjoy
it. They might want easy seating or the difficult seating.
Yeah. Yeah, people pay to do bungee jumping, so yeah, I can understand that.
I know, except this would be a bungee jump that's like lasts for 30 minutes at a time.
Yeah. Oh wow.
So Elon Musk, he wants to build a city on Mars, a 1 million person city on Mars by 2050. And I was wondering what you thought about that thought.
Well, if you're talking about city, then you have to apply a visa to visit a city. That's my first question. And the second question is, what kind of law system we're going to have on the city? Like, do we follow the same general practice, like on the city as we are on Earth, or will there be some kind of different laws going to be applied there? And third thing is, where would it be? I mean, moon is. If you want to just build a city on moon, you have to be careful by selecting an appropriate site. Yeah, it's not just the city is going to be as huge as the moon, or yeah. I'm curious, like what would be the exact location of the city? And yeah, I think that's that's probably the three questions I have for Elon Musk.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think he's thought that far ahead of it. I think he's just like, we have to figure out how to get there, and then that's like a big enough challenge to worry about. And then those things, have to be sorted.
Yeah, well, it's going to be fun if we have a city on the moon. And do we, well, which country owns it, or the states will own it, or Elon Musk will own it? Will he be the king of that city?
or maybe it's its own country. That could be.
Yeah. It would be fun. Like, what kind of flag would that country be have, and what's the official language of the city? Will it be English? Yeah, probably will be English. Yeah, it's probably the most commonly used language. Will it have schools, hospitals? Oh, yes. If it's a city, then it must be surrounded by some kind of protective dome, right? You can't just expose it.
That's
What kind of material would they be using to construct that dome thing? It has to be strong enough to prevent accidental attacks from asteroids.
it's
Yeah.
also
Oh,
inflating the atmosphere too, making sure it's enough
yeah. Make sure it's
dioxide out. Any type of toxins, that's. I mean, the Earth does so much for us. I don't think we can fully comprehend how much the Earth does, and we have to restate that.
Oh, if that's the long-term goal, then it's necessary for us to send human beings over there, because how can you find answers to those questions without actually putting human beings on that on the moon, right?
That's true. Well, I think I was just looking at the time, and actually I do have to go to the office.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's why I'm asking. Like, probably the meeting should be ended like 15 minutes ago.
But, thank you so much for talking to me and sharing your thoughts, perspectives. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your time, Nathan.
Okay, well, I hope our paths cross again.
Yeah, good luck with NASA.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.